So I want to start by telling you a story from our scriptures. Specifically, this is Krishna book, I think. It's part of the story is from Krishna book. There was a big gathering of sages, and they were going to do this big yajna. And in this yajna, they were all deciding that who should be the beneficiary of this yajna. There were some people there who were devotees of Lord Vishnu. There were some people there who were devotees of Lord Shiva. And there were even some sages there who were dedicated to Lord Brahma. So they discussed amongst themselves. And finally Narad Muni, of course, he's always in the story, churning the, stirring the pot. So he said, you know what, why don't we test the Trimurti? So they said, okay, it's a great idea, but who's qualified to test the Trimurti, these three? So they decided amongst them, one of the greatest sages was Bhrigu Muni. So Bhrigu Muni, he's the son of Lord Brahma. So Bhrigu Muni went to Brahmalok, and his father was there in the court. Imagine, he just walked in like with an ego attitude and went and sat down. And Brahmaji was very upset by this. Like, my son has come after such a long time. He doesn't even respect me. Like, imagine your son comes, some family member comes home, doesn't bat an eyelid and just walks up to their room or something. It's like, what kind of behavior is this? How disrespectful is that? So he started getting annoyed. Mother Saraswati calmed him down. So Bhrigu Muni took note. Did you just increase the volume? All right. Bhrigu Muni, did you just decrease the volume? Bhrigu Muni took note and then went to see his brother, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is, in one sense, considered to be also the son of Lord Brahma. Came from the forehead of Lord Brahma. So when he saw Lord Shiva, when Lord Shiva saw Bhrigu Muni after so long, he said, "Oh, Bhrigu Muni, my brother, oh, please come here." And Bhrigu Muni said, "Don't touch me, get away from me. You're covered in ashes, and I'm a Brahmin, clean. Like, how can you come and touch me?" Imagine saying that to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva became very, very strong, very angry, and then Mother Parvati calmed him down. So then Bhrigu Muni went to see Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu is lying there on Ananta Shesh. And without, I shudder to say this, without introducing himself, he just came to Lord Vishnu and he stamped on his chest. And Lord Vishnu immediately got up and started to massage Bhrigu Muni's foot and said, my dear sage, my chest is so hard. When your foot hit my chest, it must have hurt your foot. Bhrigu Muni is thinking, what? So immediately he came down and he told all the sages, Lord Vishnu is the supreme. Because I went to Lord Brahma and I committed a mental offense and he took offense. With Lord Shiva, I committed a verbal offense. I spoke very harsh words to him. Lord Shiva took offense. With Lord Vishnu, I committed a physical offense. I kicked him in the chest. And he massaged my foot, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, my chest must have hurt your foot." So, now why am I telling this story? Because as a direct result of that, Lakshmi Devi quarreled, had a fight with her husband Vishnu. And so the moral of this story is that if we fight, it's okay. Even the Supreme Lord sometimes has a fight with his wife. Even Lakshmi Devi quarrels with Lord Vishnu sometimes. So Lakshmi Devi was saying to Lord Vishnu that you may have forgiven this sage for doing that, but I can't tolerate. How can you accept that somebody just comes and without any reason just kicks you in the chest? I can't tolerate this. So she said, I'm leaving. She was so angry. She was seething with anger. She came down to the earthly planet and she began to do meditation to try and calm her anger down. That's how angry she was. And in the meantime, Lord Vishnu was without his wife. What is life without the wife, right? I'm experiencing that right now. My wife at the moment is in Mayapur Dham. So I'm like home alone, going around the house going, where is everybody? So I can relate to what Lord Vishnu what he was going through. So Lord Vishnu was very sad. And finally he also came down to the earthly planet. And he took the form of a hunter. His name was Srinivas. So this is a hint who this personality is. So he came in the form of Srinivas. This is previous Kali Yuga. And he was there as a hunter, and one day he was traveling and he went into the gardens of the princess. It was a local princess. And as soon as he saw the princess, he thought, I want to marry this princess. And this princess, when she saw the hunter, she also immediately fell in love and had a great fever, because how can she tell her father, I want to marry a hunter? Like he's like wearing a deer skin type thing. It's like, a princess with a hunter? Like how on earth is that ever going to be accepted? So eventually the king found out, and then he arranged their wedding. And as a result, because the Lord, he was in the hunter form, then he actually borrowed money from Kuber, the treasurer of the Devtas. And then he had a lovely wedding, and him and his new wife, Padmavati, were married on the hillside. Narad Muni, as I said, he likes to stir the pot. Narad Muni came and then went to Lakshmi Devi. So Lakshmi Devi is very angry with Lord Vishnu, and she's meditating to calm her anger. Now Narad Muni comes and says, oh, you're trying to deal with your anger? You know what Vishnu has just gone and done? He's gone and married another lady. Can you imagine Lakshmi Devi's reaction? What? So where is he? Oh, he's there on the mountainside. So immediately she goes there. Imagine she bursts into the house, bursts into the room, and there is another lady massaging Lord Vishnu's leg. Now, at this point, when I was reading the story, I was like, how is he going to get out of this one? How on earth is he going to get out of this one? And Lord Vishnu pacifies Lakshmi Devi at this point, and everything is okay. Now, what he says to her, I'm going to tell you at the end of the class. How he got out of it, I'm going to tell you at the end of the class. So in case I forget, remind me. So that is just to show you, that's just an illustration, that even the Lord sometimes goes through, shall we say, discussions, arguments with his wife. So when it happens with us, it is a normal part of, shall we say, being an adult, and even being a child. Not a child, a teenager, whatever you guys are. Child. It is a normal part of life. So let us discuss. Let's get stuck into today's talk. So we're gonna look at first when I'm gonna use couples just because it's the most intense relationship, but like I said, you can apply it to other things. We're gonna look at what are the topics of argument that couples fight over. What are the things? If you think about your relationships, what is it that you generally fight over? So we're gonna look at that first. Then we're gonna look at, I'm gonna give you the, shall we say, the relationship coaching aspect, is what are the real reasons we're fighting over? Because what happens is this is why people end up call me to help with their relationships, because what happens is they're fighting on this level, but the real issues are on this level. But because they're so caught up at this level, they can't see it, they can't understand it. So that's when I come in and then I help them to understand, oh, right. And I'm going to give you some examples today to illustrate that. It's like, all right, this is what's really going on. This is the real reason why they're fighting. And because they don't understand the real reason, they can just be fighting all day long and they're never going to resolve it. Because they're not actually talking about what needs to be spoken about. So we'll look at that. We'll look at the 4 types of arguments. I've got 4. Let's see how time goes. We'll do as many as we can. And then I'll take you through what we need to do with each of those. Okay, so let's start. So I'm going to try and make this as interactive as possible. I'm trying to encourage this style of talk, is that we get people up and they find somebody in the room that they don't know so well. Because otherwise what happens is you come to a program like this, you just say Haribol, hi, you see people from a distance, but you never actually speak to them. It's more of a spectator. So I'm trying to encourage in all the temples that we actually get people to talk, even in the session itself. So I'm going to ask you to all stand up and find somebody in the room, not yet, find somebody in the room that you don't know necessarily very well. So definitely not your partner. Now we're going to mix this up a bit. Ladies with the ladies, men with the men. Be clear. Some young guys going, yeah. No. No. Ladies with the ladies, men with the men. Sorry. This is not a relationship seminar. It's not a dating seminar. So I want you to answer. Obviously, the kids, you talk about what you would. But what would you say are the most common reasons why couples, or if you're in case you're not married or you're not, you fight with whoever it is, your sibling, your auntie, your mother, your father, whoever it is that you fight with. What are the most common reasons that you fight with them? Okay, so if everybody could stand up, yes, take a stretch. Go find somebody in the room that you don't necessarily know so well, and discuss. Okay, thank you. You can either, actually this part you can be seated. We may do another exercise in a little while, but I hope you met somebody, I hope you got to know somebody, I hope you feel a bit more comfortable with the person sitting next to you now. Okay, so just shout out, what are some of the reasons why we fight? Is there anybody who's good at writing on the board? You want to write on the board? Okay, go for it. What's your name?
I'm Shraddha.
Shraddha. Give Shraddha a round of applause. I appreciate everybody's service here. So when people shout out things, maybe you can just write it on the board. So reason. What are you going to write?
We both think we're right.
Say again?
We both think we're correct.
Oh, you're going to write it on the board. So no, what I'm going to ask you to do is be the scribe for what everybody else says.
I write everyone else.
Yeah, everybody else is, yeah. No, so what were you going to say?
We both think that we're both correct all the time.
Okay, we're both right. You can start with that one. Okay, yes, nice. Okay, please raise your hand and shout out.
Emotional availability.
That's like, get in there, right hook straight.
I think lack of emotional intelligence as well. Side with that one.
Emotional availability. Okay, let's get that one. Okay. So what does that basically mean? What does that basically mean?
Unavailability or availability?
Oh yeah, lack of. Yeah, unavailability. Yeah. Got very neat handwriting. I like it. Okay, so is that like not enough time spent with the person? Yeah, and then not just time, but actually interacting. Okay, good, very good one. That's one of the most important. Yes, keep going.
In a couple, I hate your family.
Yeah, okay.
No, I don't
Okay,
like your family.
the outlaws. Okay.
Yeah, the outlaws. That's a good one.
Okay.
Do I write outlaws?
Yes. Right. Do I write outlaws? They're not here, right? That's right. As long as they're not here, that's fine.
I've got a few that relate to the same topic. Not flushing the toilet.
Okay. See, I mean, I'm sorry. Even I'd have an argument with you about that. Like, what? That's the last thing you want to see.
Last thing is finished.
He hasn't even finished yet. Hare Krishna.
Putting the toilet seat down
Okay.
and either not opening the window or using an air freshener.
Okay. So what does that generalize to? What does that generalize to? How, sorry, say again.
Generally, I found it's the male.
Wait. Cleanliness. Okay. Yeah, cleanliness. Bathroom habits, yes. I should put bathroom habits, yes. Yeah. Good one. Yeah, I mean, we are having fun here as well. I know, like.
I would say lack of communication.
Lack of communication.
Lack of communication.
Lack of communication. Specifically means what? Means they don't text when they're coming home.
No, I think it's just like sometimes you say something and like the other person doesn't really listen, and you have to tell them a few times for them to actually understand what you're trying to tell them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Selective hearing.
And it's like, I've already told you, and then you're asking me the same question. Like,
You know,
discussion.
you,
Yeah,
you know the men are still not listening right now.
I know.
What did she just say? My wife isn't here, so I'm okay. Okay, good one, thank you.
Who else wants to share? Cultural differences?
Cultural differences. Okay, anything specific? So you're Gujarati and she's Punjabi?
No, it's like brought up in Britain and one brought up in, let's say, India.
Yes.
The way you talk.
Okay, so when you say cultural differences, why is there argument over that? What's the?
You can rub in the wrong way. So
Okay.
when you say something, it doesn't mean, or it can come across as quite sometimes edgy or misunderstanding.
Okay, so misunderstandings. Okay, so misunderstandings due to cultural differences. If you could write it bigger, like you did at the top there. Yeah, that's good. Because there's some people with glasses at the back and they still can't see.
I think linked to the previous point, differences in communication styles.
Differences in communication styles. Okay. Okay.
Anybody else?
Okay. One last one.
Adam?
No. That's what the mic is for. I don't want you shouting at me.
Money, finances.
Thank you. Yes. Finances. Boom. Yes. Okay, that's it for now. Very good. So there's some others that I don't have on my list. House duties, work responsibilities, husbands or wives working too late or long hours. I've put in-laws here, but outlaws is correct. House decor. Sometimes I want it like this. No, I want it like this. Finance is a key one, and sometimes kids as well. Sometimes. I'm trying to be polite here. Yeah, kids as well. Okay, so those are, shall we say, the surface, not even surface level, those are the, shall we say, the external reasons why we fight. What are the real reasons why we fight? So when we say the real reasons, what we're asking actually is what is the need underlying that. So we're fighting about the kids. We're fighting about emotional unavailability. We're fighting about the outlaws. I shouldn't say outlaws. I say that jokingly. We're fighting about the in-laws, the other partner's family. But what's actually going on, shall we say, under the hood? Like if you take a car example, if you want to fix a car, you lift the hood and then you look at the engine. Oh, right, that's really what's going on. So what is the need that is not actually being met? What are some of the needs that are not being met in these examples? These are external reasons, but underlyingly, there are some needs that are not being met. And that's why you'll find that there's such strong emotion in some of these things. And the other person, the partner just can't get it. They're just like, so what, my mom said that? Why are you getting so upset by that? Right? And the husband or the wife just can't get it. And they're just like, because what it's doing is it's pressing on a nerve internally. It's not just about that person said it. There's some nerve that's being pressed on. That's really what's going on. That's really why there's so much emotion involved. So what are the needs that are not being fulfilled here?
valued?
To be valued, yes. Can you flip the... Shraddha is our expert writer. To be valued, yes. Very good. So what we do is we'll put the real reasons why we fight. It's, so how would you say that? Undervalued? Not being valued? Sorry, it should be the reasons why we fight. So it's like not being valued. Maybe just cross out the to be and put not to being. Okay, what else?
Personal.
Just okay, just shout out because it's going to be quicker. Unless you want to... he wants it, the exercise, that's fine.
Personal discontentment.
Sorry?
Feeling discontent.
Discontentment? Okay, so what specifically there?
For example, I mean, I might cause an argument because I'm not content about something within myself.
Right, okay. Oh, discontentment within the self, the person themselves, okay. I thought you were saying discontentment with the relationship. Okay, discontentment within themselves, okay.
Misunderstood?
Feeling misunderstood, yes. So you can say DIS and then content. Discontent. And then feeling misunderstood. Yep. So actually, even feeling misunderstood, what's the need there? Yeah, I guess the need is to be understood. Yeah, okay, yeah, correct.
Not being listened to or being heard.
Not being heard, very, very good. How many clients I have that tell me this? They just don't feel like they're being heard. Yeah, so true. So that's why sometimes at like this point that you raised here, I'll wait for it to look at me. This point that you raised here about not being heard, right? They don't, like you're trying, how many times do I have to say the same thing and it feels like you're not being heard? So the real thing here is that feeling of not being heard, not being understood. I'm going to come to the main one. Who we got next, sorry?
Our ego. I think our ego sometimes gets in the way of understanding the other person. So like, I'm very solution focused, whereas other people I've mentioned in my life can be emotional, and so there's that disconnect because I just want bang a result. Whereas
So that's not necessarily ego-based. What is that?
ego in the sense of because I want the solution, my
Okay.
ego stops me from understanding.
Right,
the
okay.
person's point of view,
Right, okay, yes.
Which may not be around just about the solution.
Okay. So, but what's the underlying need there that's not being met?
Communication, maybe listening.
Control? Perhaps. I'm going to come to that point specifically anyway, because this is the number one problem with men. So nobody wants to compromise. So that's then ego, yes. So it's like needing to be right. Okay, any others? Okay, we'll just do one more and then I'll give you the rest.
It's the lack of trust.
Lack of trust, very good, yes. Such an important one. How can you have, in any relationship, if there's lack of trust, how can there be a relationship? Yep. Very good. So there's other ones like feeling unappreciated, feeling disrespected, feeling unapproved. And here's the key one, actually, Shilan, the one that you mentioned, for the other person at least, is feeling invalidated. How many, you don't need to raise your hand, I already know the answer, but how many of us here feel like you're not heard, you're not being validated? Whatever you're feeling is not being validated. And by being given a solution, what does it make you feel? Invalidated. Hint, hint. Feeling unsafe. Yeah, sometimes it could even be that. So when it comes to the in-laws, sometimes it creates that feeling that I'm not safe. Feeling unsafe. Sorry, he's on his phone. You know, the point about the in-laws, sometimes it is about the person doesn't feel safe in that environment. They actually don't feel safe. That that need is actually about self. Because we just think, just so what my mom said that, so what my dad said that, whatever. But as a result of that, if that puts that person in a state where they don't feel safe, now we're talking on a different level. It doesn't matter what, because then we start to, no, but when she said that, she didn't quite mean that, and we start going off into this whole thing, and you're not getting to the root. The root is she damn well doesn't feel safe. So you can argue and you try to justify. Have you noticed that? You try to do that. You try to justify. You try to explain, and it doesn't matter what you say. That person feels unsafe. That's the bottom line. That's the real issue. Not what your mum said, and the word that she used doesn't actually mean that, and it means that. None of that is going to make any difference because you're not getting to the root. I'm giving you an example. I'm not saying that's what happened. But. So the key thing here that I want you to start looking at is actually what's the real reason? You're talking on this level, but the real reason is underneath. It's underneath the hood. What is it that person is, what need is not being met? So that's what we need to look at. So there's a quote from Spirit Science. Discussions are always better than arguments because discussions are better than arguments because an argument is to find out who is right. A discussion is to find out what is right. Okay, notice the difference? Argument is about who is right. Discussion is about what is right. No, I'm not sharing just yet. You are right. Okay, just for your benefit. Is that okay? See, I understood the need there. I didn't understand it at first when you said that, and I was like, maybe there's something else going on here. Okay, I'll share. He's like, I need to see something on the screen. Like, I don't feel safe right now. He's very much a task-orientated person. Those who know him, like, needs to have the bullet points and everything is like in order, right? Okay, is that better? We want you to feel safe. So these are the 4 types of arguments. There are more, but we don't need to address them all. So let's see how many we get through today. Maybe we'll only get through 1 or 2, but I'd rather churn 1 or 2 rather than try to cover everything. So there's healthy fighting. There's healthy fighting? What the? Yes, there's healthy fighting. I'll show you. There's unhealthy fighting, there's bickering, and then there's silent fighting. And silent fighting, in one sense, can sometimes be the deadliest. The Cold War, yes. So let's start with the healthy argument cycle. So inevitably, even in any harmonious relationship, inevitably, this is the material world, there will be some disharmony. It's the nature of the world we live in. It's also the nature of, especially if we're talking about couples, it's the nature of the beast, shall we say. A man thinks differently, is wired differently, often comes from a completely different background. In fact, what's interesting, and then a female is obviously wired differently, also has completely different perspectives, different priorities, etc. Now, interestingly, sometimes people say, you have to marry in the same caste, and it has to be this, and it has to be that. And as much as possible, you try and make sure that when you bring a couple together, that they're as similar as possible. They've got even then, you'll find differences. Even then, you'll find so many different. They're pretty much the same. I know they're grown up in the same country, like back in the day. They've all both grown up in Kenya or something like that. They've had pretty much the same environment, but yet when you put them together, it's just like, what the hell? Like, they're so different. That's the nature of the beast. Every single individual, every single soul is individual for a reason. God, Krishna, has made us individual for a reason. You know why? Because our ultimate purpose, let me just put in the Krishna conscious a bit here. Our ultimate purpose is to give pleasure to Radha and Krishna. Our ultimate purpose is to give pleasure to God. So he has made every single one of you absolutely different, because every single one of us gives a very unique and special individual pleasure to the Lord. There are unlimited souls in the creation, yet every single one, not one person has the same fingerprint. Because we give a pleasure to God that is different. It's just like saying, why do parents sometimes have so many kids? And they love every single one of them. Each individual, those of you who have kids, isn't it? Your son or your daughter gives a totally different pleasure from the other kid. We all know, you notice that those who have more than one kid. Notice that? Totally different. I wouldn't have it any other way. My son, he's so good, he's so like, Siddhi Sadi, like he's very, like he's like got very saintly qualities like that. My daughter's the complete opposite. She's like chaos. And she's loud and she's like, she brings the fun and the joy to the family. I wouldn't have it any other way. Like that. So everybody brings something to the table that is different. So that means when you put two people together, there's gonna be some conflict. There's gonna be some disharmony at some point. It's the nature of the beast. The key thing is this is a healthy argument cycle, is that when there is disharmony, you bring it through the process of repair and then you bring it back to harmony. That's the key thing. Now we're going to see what doesn't happen. So this is the healthy argument cycle. So what happens? You've got some disagreement. Sometimes it even gets heated. Sometimes it even gets heated, especially when there is some of these going on. No. Thank you. Give Shraddha a round of applause. So enthusiastic. You can sit back there if you want to.
I'm good.
You're good. Okay. So if you see some of these start coming out, that's when there's some really strong emotions. That's when you know we're not talking about this level. There's some unmet need going on here. That's why there's such strong emotions involved. So sometimes the argument gets heated. The husband feels disrespected. The wife doesn't feel safe. Whatever it is, like that. So there's a lot of emotions involved. But the difference is here, now they bring it back to a discussion. Now they bring it back to what's really going on. Then they start the process of understanding and learning, and then it deepens the relationship. That's healthy argument cycle. That's what we want to, ultimately that's what we want to aim for. So the way that happens is that ultimately there is proper lines of communication which then bring it to the deeper understanding. And sometimes this last part here, sometimes this is called making up to each other. And sometimes couples fight so that they can make up to each other. Like that. Sometimes even like that. Because that actually deepens the relationship. Through the fight, can you imagine, you become closer. Isn't that amazing? Because you learn about the other person, you learn something you didn't know before. And it's only through that fight, I don't know, she opens up about her relationship with her uncle or something like that, and something happened, and it's like, oh, that's why she gets triggered so badly when this, and she's never told you that before. But only because of that incident, that's the reason why, shall we say, that comes to the surface, comes to light. Okay, so that was the healthy argument cycle. Now, when we look at the unhealthy argument cycle, so you have a disagreement, you have a heated argument, just like before, but now what's the difference?
No discussion.
No discussion, yes, it's unresolved. There's unresolved hurt and anger. This can even happen amongst friends. I'm not even necessarily talking about it. This is the same thing. Heated argument, and there's the unresolved hurt and anger. It is not, you don't come to a solution. And then what happens is you get a trigger, and that trigger then starts the next disagreement, starts the next fight. You see, because this, now, I haven't drawn it here, but if you imagine let me say it like this, actually. So you imagine there's two cups. Every relationship has two cups, a positive cup and a negative cup. Every relationship, whether it's friends, whether it's devoted friends, whether it's a couple, whether it's parent and child, every relationship has two cups, the positive and the negative. And what happens is here in this unhealthy argument cycle is that when there is unresolved hurt and anger, which part are we putting into? The negative cup. Now what happens is that argument happens, then we put a little bit in the negative cup. Then the next argument, then what happens? Add a bit more. Then add a bit more. And it keeps getting unresolved. So what are you noticing now? What are you noticing in that relationship? Do you see it starts to turn? What does it become? Toxic. It becomes bitter. That relationship now, the reason why is because now too much is going into the negative cup. We're not emptying it. We're not dealing with it. And often what happens is, unfortunate, and the reason why I'm saying this is to like give you all warning. Like what happens is when it only gets to the full, absolute, that's when people come to me and go, oh my God, Nitai, can you help sort this out? I'm like, you should have come to me way before this, way before. So only when it gets to that critical emergency state, and sometimes I can't save the relationship because they've left it too late. So I always tell people, if you can see this cup is growing and you can't sort it out, seek help. And it's not me, whoever it is, but the point is seek help. Sort it out before it gets too late, before it gets to the critical, the red light, warning, 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 warning. Before it gets to that stage, sort it out. Because we need to put more in the positive cup than we do in the negative cup. For a relationship to be happy, there needs to be more in the positive cup than the negative cup. Very important principle. Any relationship. That's why when the relationship is good, put as much into that positive cup as you can. Because when you've got more in the positive cup, even if you do something wrong, the wife forgives you, right? Lets you get away with it. Because you're doing so much other things. I know what I've got to do. My wife is going to come back from holiday. I'm saying this on camera. My wife is going to come back on holiday. I'm going to make sure the house is clean, tidy. When she comes back, she's like, wow, now I can get away with a lot more. Like, right? That's the plan. Don't tell her. You see, because I put more in the positive cup. But now I don't do that. What happens? She comes back. There's this problem, that one. Right? Immediately I'm putting into the negative cup. Think about it. Be intelligent, be smart. See? So look at the relationship, that positive and the negative cup. So when there's an unresolved hurt and anger, and we keep adding to the negative cup, that's when the relationship goes sour. So if you look at the healthy argument cycle, you've got disagreement, heated argument, and then it turns into a discussion. How does it go from heated argument to discussion? This is the difference between unhealthy and healthy. Both of them start the same. Both of them start with some disagreement. Both of them get into heated arguments, but this one goes that way, this one goes that way. What's the difference? So I'm going to ask you to stand up. Find a partner. You can do the same one. And just very quickly, you've got 1 minute, discussing that. How is it that one goes this way and one goes that way? Men with the men, ladies with the ladies. Stand up, everybody, and discuss with your partner. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, hit me. What did you discuss? Not literally hit me. That's the start of the next argument. Yeah, like Lord Vishnu, who's the Brigham Muni here. And I'm definitely not Lord Vishnu. Okay, somebody hit me.
We're just talking about physical presence. So if you're in the same house, and I'm with my wife, and then you have a heated argument, you're in the same house, so you're going to see that person. So you're going to lead to a discussion. Luckily, me and my wife lead to a discussion. I think it gets more challenging if it's a sibling or friend or someone not in the physical presence. So okay,
so even in that one, I want to go back. How do you get it from? Because I'm going to be honest with you. You said from a heated discussion, heated argument, you go into discussion. So that doesn't happen even in the same household with many households. So my question is, how do you go from heated argument to a calm discussion? How does that process happen? That's what we're looking at here.
Okay. I mean, in my example,
yeah.
I think this is just natural humility from both of us.
Okay.
To go, right, we're going to just lean in now. And also we go from loud voice to lower
Right,
voice.
so this is what I'm talking about. Notice this is one of the key ones, first of all. A heated discussion, everybody's shouting at each other. Who's listening? Who's listening to each other? Nobody's listening to nobody. Each person is thinking about what are they thinking about? What they're going to answer. That person is, the mouths are moving, the mouth is moving. I'm not listening to a damn word that person is saying. I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next. That's what's happening. There's no listening at all. So that's one of the key ones. So the thing is, both of you realize, okay, let's have some humility, right? Let's start listening to each other rather than shouting at each other. Big difference. Notice? Is it any relationship? Yeah, go ahead. So that's what we're looking for, yes. You answered it already.
Okay, I've answered.
Thank you.
So I think it's about opinions and acknowledgement. So when you're having a discussion, as you said, everyone's just kind of putting their point across. So it's important you say that it's in your opinion and the other person acknowledges it.
Very good. He learned that from me.
Okay.
Yes. I was like, how the hell did you know? Oh, yeah. I know. Yes. So that's a very good trick. So what you do is you say, in my opinion, this. Because now it's not a blanket statement. When you say, there's kids in the room, I can't use that one. When you say, I'll tone it down. When you say, what you did is stupid, do you see how that immediately brings the defense up of the person? But if I say, in my opinion, I think what you did was really stupid. See the difference? Big difference. Even just saying, framing it like that can make a big difference. See? So that's a very good one. Yep. So now we're toning it down. Oh, it's in his opinion. Okay, I don't need to attack that then. Because to be honest, it's my opinion. That's the absolute truth. Now, whether it is stupid or not is a different point. But my opinion is that. That's the absolute truth. You can't, in one sense, you can't argue with that. It's truth, your opinion. Go ahead. Who's next? I haven't heard from any of these wonderful ladies over here. They look very intelligent. They look very intelligent, but maybe they're a little bit shy, so we need to encourage them. Yeah, so she passes the mic.
Sometimes, you just walk away for at least some time, use some time to
Yes.
each other to understand what actually how can we solve that.
Yes.
So giving the time
Yes.
and then come back to the
Yes.
discussion.
Very good. This is one of the key ones I was looking for. Heated argument. Everybody's at each other's throats like, whoa, all right, you go in that time out. Right, time out. You know, in a wrestling match, in a boxing match, right? Ding, 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 ding. Right, you go to your corner, you go to your corner. Sometimes you need to take some time out. You go to that room, you go to that room. You have some time to drink some water, wash your face, whatever it is you have to do, breathe, all of that stuff. Then when you come back together, it's like, okay, and what? I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to hear you. Very good. Yes, take some time out and come back. But then if it starts getting heated again, yeah, take some more time, and maybe he needs to sleep on it. Maybe you need to do something different. But at least start with that. Yes, very good point. We have no more. One more. Okay, over here. They're just being shy.
I can say it's separating the subjective from the objective. Separating the subjective from the objective.
What on earth does that mean?
That means you separate the emotion from the real problem.
You separate the emotions from the real problem. How on earth do you do that?
Well, any argument would have an emotional side.
If you use a mic.
Sorry. Any emotion would have the emotional side when we saying this, feeling and everything, but underlying would be the thing that is causing the problem.
Okay.
So you separate the two
How do you do that?
by right, is saying, okay, fine, emotion is where we actually get not listening to what is being said, but we say, they listen to the real problem and not listen to the emotion.
Okay. So does that mean you have to take some time out to do that?
Sometimes you need to take that time out, or sometimes you just have to say, like, in my opinion, and then move forward that way.
Okay. So separate the emotion from actually what's going on. So when you take the time out, that's often what you do, is you calm down the emotion so you can understand what's really going on. Okay. Good. So you get some idea now. Is this helping? Giving some real solid understanding of why we argue. Like, we don't realize we're doing these things. This is a quote from coolfunnyquotes.com. I'm not arguing. I'm just telling you why you're wrong. Where's Shilin? This is ego. Yes. Just telling you why you're wrong. There's no argument here.
Just trying to help.
I'm just trying to help. Okay. So one of the things that we see here in the unhealthy argument cycle is when we go through that process and there are unresolved hurt and anger because there are issues under the surface. So let me give some examples. I'm going to get you to answer them. Okay. So we've understood that people argue on this level, but there's actually an underlying issue going on. So let's take some practical examples. So here's example number one. So I'm going to get you to groups in a moment and discuss what's the real issue. So the situation is a couple is arguing because one partner wants to spend time with his friends. Okay, now get this. A couple is arguing, and I found this, I think I've got 3 cases of this, 3 couples that I'm dealing with, and the husband has told me that his partner seems like she doesn't want him to spend time with his friends. And it's actually the same issue, and I've told all 3 of them, like when we discussed this, the same issue for all 3 of the wives. What's the real issue? So he's looking at that thinking what? What's the husband thinking? More than she's moaning. She's controlling. Yeah, what else? Say again. Trust isn't there. Okay.
I think she wants him to be more present with her.
So I'm not asking for the answer.
Oh, sorry.
I'm saying, what is he thinking? What's he thinking about her?
Finding faults.
She's trying to find faults with me. She doesn't want me to be happy. You see that? Can you see how he thinks that? So what we're doing here is we're saying, hang on, what's actually going on? Because the argument is happening at this. So can you see? She's saying, you're going out with your friends. Why are you going out with your friends? So then he starts to think, what? You don't want me to enjoy. You don't want me to be happy. I've got three husbands that were thinking like this. Because that's what they understood. So that's why I'm training them to understand, no, actually, you need to look at what's going on under the hood. That's not what's going on. And I don't even need to speak to the wife. I already know. I know what's going on. So now I want you to get in your groups, and men especially, I want you to discuss what is actually going on. Okay, so let's answer this. So if you all stand up, all stand up, all stand up. What's actually going on? What's the real issue? And what does he need to do? I know this is a bit mature topics, but I hope it's okay. Yeah. It's not a mature topic for you. Spot on. Spot on. Okay, 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. Okay, everybody say with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By the way, are you going to know some people that maybe you didn't know so well before? Yeah? So, okay, making some new connections. Maybe you've seen them and you just say, Harbal, how are you? I'm okay, I hope you're good. Okay, see you next week, bye. But now you're getting a bit more deeper discussions. So, yes, that's what I'm saying. I encourage for future speakers, get them to do this more, because that way your congregation gets more interaction with each other. Yeah. It's really helped in Birmingham. So people come every week and they're getting to know each other nicely now. Okay, so give us some of your, yes, go ahead. Give some of your feedback from your discussions. Just wait for the mic.
I think that the issue is that the wife wants her husband to spend more time with her. So
Give him a round of applause. How old are you?
19.
19. Now, I just want to make it clear here. He's not married. And so it's easy for somebody who's not in that situation to say, yeah, it's so obvious. You just do this, you do it. When you're in that mix, there's so many different things going on, you don't see, in one sense, you don't always see the obvious. So I just want to make it clear. Although it sounds like, oh my God, how does he not know that? It's because when you're in that intimate relationship and the expectations are there, things are very different. So yes, but spot on, yes, I'm glad you did that. Okay, anything else you can say? Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say my idea of a solution, it might not always work as we were discussing, would be to use time blocking. So have a period of the week where you can spend time with your wife, and have one period where you can both go out with your friends.
Okay.
She's able to go out with her friends and he's able to go out at the same time, and then they come back and spend time with each other.
Okay, great. He's single, by the way. You are a catch. Now, whether that actually happens when you get married, I don't know. But at least theoretically, that sounds great. Okay, so block out some time. Yeah, brilliant. Yes, very good. Give him a round of applause. Just because he's a youngster. Okay, somebody else. Somebody else who's actually married, who knows the hardships. It's not as easy as that. Yes, Mataji. Especially when you've got young kids, it is really, yeah.
Maybe he's having more fun with the friends.
So the real issue is having more fun with the friends. He's having bromance. So what's the wife feeling? You're supposed to be speaking of
He's having bromance and she's thinking, I'm not getting no romance. That's what it is.
The friends are having more of his, shall we say, quality time and fun than what I'm getting. That's the real issue. So what does he need to do?
That I don't know.
That's for him to work out. Why are you asking me? If I have to tell him what to do, then how does that make it right? Okay, let's pass the mic. Somebody else. Thank you, Mataji. I'm just messing with you. Somebody else?
Anyone else brave?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh.
So the real issue is doing what you said you were going to do. So, for example, I'll be back at 9 o'clock, comes home at 11.
Yes.
So the real issue is not sticking to a plan, so he needs to stick to the plan.
So yeah, okay. So in the past, there's been occasions where maybe he's gone out and not stuck to the plan, etc. So then, she remembering that will be like, well, he doesn't stick to it, and he's having more fun with them as well. Because obviously he's late because of what?
Yeah.
He has more fun with them than he does with me. So yeah. So that makes her feel what?
Valued. Appreciated? No.
Sorry,
Important.
him having more fun.
Yeah.
Him having more fun with his friends makes her feel what? Huh?
Neglected.
Neglected, yeah. Makes her feel exactly the opposite of what you just said. Unimportant. She's bottom of the list. And let me just say this now. I'm not sure if we'll have time to do the rest of them, but let me just say this now. To all the men in the room. Your partner, your wife, wants to be number one. Somebody just said exactly right there. She couldn't help herself. She was just like, he gets me. He gets me. Exactly. Really understand that. Really get that. When you put your friends, it seems like your friends are number one, that's it. You ain't getting no friend time. That is at all shaky that she doesn't feel like she's number one, then forget about going to it. There's no way she's ever going to be happy with you going to see your friends. So once you've made her feel like she's number one, she will give you unlimited time with your friends. Not unlimited, but like, she'll give plenty of time. It's not that she doesn't want to see you happy. It's that if you're not meeting your needs at home first, why are you going out with your friends? Charity starts at home. We have to make sure the home is happy first. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj said this many years ago, and it blew my mind. And he was saying how there can be devotees who are preaching and they're doing so much for the mission, but his wife and children are crying at home. He said, what kind of... And when somebody like that said it, sannyasi, and who is all about the mission, and he's saying that, I was like, well, that really hit like a thunderbolt. Like, exactly. You can't be preaching and doing all of that and telling people about how wonderful Krishna consciousness is when your wife and child are crying at home because you don't give them enough time and attention and love and care. So that's number one. Make your wife feel number one. And once you do that, then the door's open. Go ahead, go enjoy your friends, go preaching, go do the mission. But first, make sure she's happy. Are the ladies happy with me today? And I was expecting some of the ladies to be like, are you listening? I'm a relationship coach, so I know the difficulties. Okay. We'll do one more, and then we'll call it time. Okay, what's the real issue? Man says to his partner he was thinking of investing some money in property. She criticizes his idea. They argue. Okay, so man comes to his wife, husband comes to his wife, and he says, I'm thinking of investing money in property. She criticizes his idea, and then they have a mad argument. What's the real issue? Now this is for both of them. What does he need to do? What does she need to do? The previous one was one sense the husband has to sort it out. And this one is actually both of them. You need to recognize there's something going on with both of them. So if everybody can stand up. Everybody stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Go find somebody in the room. You know what to do. Okay. So please tell me, what's the real issue? Jagnasharan is laughing. What's the real issue? I was going to ask you guys to
I
discuss
think
at
the
some
real
point. but-
issue is there's not agreement on what is progress. So how he perceives progress and everything might be different to how she perceives it.
Okay, so the real issue is how they
It's not
perceive
shared vision.
progress. They don't.
Shared vision.
There's not a shared vision. Okay. Okay, that's part of the picture. Let me say that. Yes. Okay. But I want more. I want more. 'Cause there's more going. There's more going on here.
Says to the partner he was thinking of investing some money. He hasn't sold the idea well enough. And
This
the
is a salesman speaking here.
benefits of,
Okay, so if he sat there and said, okay, I was thinking of investing some money in property for this reason and that reason and this reason and this reason, what do you think the wife is going to do? Let me ask that, I'm not you, you're a man. What do you think what's the wife going to do? So your husband comes up to you and says, you know, I was thinking of investing some property, and he comes out with like such good quality reasons, benefits as to why we should do it. What's the wife going to do? How's she going to react? So, how old are you? 17, but she's good at psycho. I've been listening to what she's saying. Listen to what she says. This is 17-year-old. See the difference? You can give a million reasons as to why, because you're thinking solutions. You're thinking, wow, this is a great idea. What haven't you done in the first place? Not you, as in the husband. Say again? No, you need to. By the way, you can't say that when there's women in the room. You tell me that privately afterwards, then we'll talk. We'll talk. Yeah, there's lots of things I can tell you, but not in front of them. What's wrong with you? Don't give our secrets away. And the women are thinking the same thing as well, right? Okay, so we need to get get her on our side. Okay. Sorry, please continue. Use the mic. I know you're a bit shy. Give her a round of applause. This is the problem with a lot of men, is they don't have that understanding that, hang on, it's not just my money. Yes, you earned it, but it's a household. You see? And we forget, as men, sometimes we forget. It's like, oh, I'm going out with it. You haven't thought about what the wife's needs are. You haven't thought about her needs. You see? Because it's like, oh, I've come up with a great idea, bang, here it is. Very, very good. You haven't asked her, you haven't got her involved. You haven't thought about where it's shared money. Even if you earned it, it's still both of yours. In fact, if anything, it's her money. What do the wives say? What's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine. Did you forget that? Sorry, Karen. That's it. Yeah, very wonderful. We have some hope. Definitely have some hope. Then she runs away. No, she has some. Her mum was calling her, or somebody was calling her. Somebody else. Thank you, Shilen. Thank you for getting it wrong so we could have this discussion. I know you were just doing it to help the discussion. Thanks. Somebody else? What else did you discuss? One other group, and then we'll open it up to questions. All right, two. All right, we'll do the last two. Go ahead.
So we were talking about how...
Sorry, can I ask? Yeah.
We were talking about how there's criticism from the wife's perspective.
Yes.
About where that might come from.
Yes.
And that where there's a risk, there may be unsafety. So she wants to see the other side of the coin, that the cons as well as the pros.
Very good.
Discuss.
Very good. Yeah.
Discuss, like you
Yes.
explained in the previous slide about the moving from disharmony to harmony. If there's that discussion, there's no learning, and there's no empathy for one another in that situation.
Very good. Very nice point. So she's picked up on a point here, which we can discuss just for a little while. Generally speaking, this is obviously very general. You need to look at yourself individually and your wife to understand the truth of this. Is that generally speaking, a man, Shilan, you're listening, yeah? Generally speaking, a man is looking for significance. And generally speaking, a woman is looking for security. So she's picked up on a really good point. Why is it the wife is criticizing? Because as soon as she feels unsafe, that immediately transforms the situation. It may be significant. So the guy's just thinking, yeah, we can earn more money, it's clever, it's passive income, brilliant idea. It's all about, but one sense it's all about seeing it, it's not. But if it interferes with the need for the wife of security, that's it. It doesn't matter how brilliant the idea is. So she's picked up on a really good point. What's the cons? What's the dangers? What might happen with that money? Yes, you invest it. What could go wrong? Not just, you know what, it's going to be amazing, we're going to earn this much, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but what's the downside of it? What if you don't make rent? Can you pay the mortgage of this house and the rent of that house in case? Like that, whatever, I don't know what the details are. You see? So you also have to be careful of looking after her need, especially of security. Because remember, as a mother, as a wife, she's looking after the household things. And especially, she's concerned about the shall we say, the welfare of the children. The husband does, but he's also got so many other things and big plans and all this kind of stuff going on, especially if he's after significance. And sometimes the needs of the kids can sometimes get overlooked. And therefore there needs to be a proper plan in place. I'm just giving you an example. So that's why she's criticizing. And what does he feel when he's being criticized? What does he feel? Defensive. So what does he feel? Not trusted, yeah. That's one of the worst things for a man. He feels, what, my wife doesn't trust me? My wife doesn't believe in me? You see? And that then, what you get? A heated argument. You see how it's happening now? The whole idea here was to show you how the argument's happening. You're arguing on this level, oh, we're just talking about property, what's the big deal? But there's way more going on under the hood. Way more going on. The husband feels so disrespected, he feels not trusted, feels like all these things. What, you don't think I'm going to think about the kids? What do you need? Like, you think I'm going to do something that's going to endanger the kids? What's wrong with you? And she's feeling unsafe and all these things that are going on. Like, that's what's really going on. So sometimes you need to stop and look under the hood. Okay? Wonderful. So let me tell you the end of the story, and then we can open up to Q&A. So how did Lord Vishnu pacify his wife Lakshmi? So for those of you who came late, Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi Devi had an argument, and Lord Vishnu then went and married another lady. And Lakshmi Devi's just found out, she's come in, and she's burst into the room and she sees somebody else massaging Lord Vishnu's feet. Somebody's doing her service, and she's about to flip. They're about to have the biggest argument in the universe. I don't know what's going to happen at this point. Lakshmi Devi, like the Supreme Lord. Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu gets up and immediately says, wait. Before you say anything, let me explain. In a previous incarnation, when I was Lord Ram, when Ravan was going to come and kidnap you as Sita, you were Sita, then at that time, we manifested Chaya Sita. And it is Chaya Sita, Shadow Sita, that got touched and taken by Ravan. That way you were never touched by Ravan. It was Chaya Sita that was there in Lanka, under Ravan's rule. And at the time when, after I killed Ravan, then we made the fire. There was the Agni Pariksha. The real reason why the Agni Pariksha, the internal reason, is that actually Chaya Sita goes into the fire, and real Sita now comes out. And do you remember at that time, we both of us agreed with Chaya Sita, because Chaya Sita has done such an important service. She saved Sita from being touched by Ravan. So at that time, both of us agreed that in another incarnation, I would marry Chayasita. So then he turned to Padmavati and said, this is Chayasita. She's the one who saved you from Ravan. And of course, Lakshmi Devi immediately became pacified. She became so happy. And so this incarnation of the Lord is known as Balaji. This is the story of Balaji. You notice he has two wives, Padmavati and Mahalakshmi. So he's the one who married Chayasita as well. So that was the example of even the Lord sometimes has quarrels. But notice he goes through which cycle? The healthy argument cycle. See? Goes through the healthy argument cycle. That's what we're looking for. Okay, Hare Krishna. Hope you enjoyed today. Shall we open it up for questions and then we'll... Yeah. Are there any questions? What I'll do is, somebody was just asking earlier, I'll leave my contact details. You can just go to the website or you just could see me afterwards. If there's anything you want to discuss with me or question, like personally, I know sometimes people don't want to say it in an open forum. If there's something personal that you want to discuss, especially if there is anything, red flags, anything I've discussed today and you're like, yeah, right, we need to sort this out, yeah, you can contact me. I'll give you my details. You can take my phone number like that if you want. Are there any questions, first of all, that you don't mind asking publicly?
Any questions?
Everybody's shy.
Can I ask a question?
Of course. You're the man with the mic.
Yeah. Appropriately so. So, given that it's the starting of healthy and unhealthy starts the same, and given that the outcome of kind of what makes the healthy conversation work is the fact that there's an understanding and a discussion that leads to understanding. So what happens if this doesn't happen naturally? How can you bring that about? Like how do you help somebody to come to that point where a discussion leads to understanding?
So let me just clarify, when you say how do you help, as in are you talking about me as a relationship or are you talking about each other, just them two themselves?
I guess I'm talking about the latter. But
yeah, them two themselves. So that's why we discussed what is the process, and some of the answers that came out were, okay, go take a break. What was it you said? You see things not from the emotional perspective, you see it from the objectives. You take out the emotions, okay, what is this person trying to say? One of the key things that you have to try and do, which is why I spent so long doing it, is just this point about when you're arguing on this level. But when you stop to think and ask, okay, what is her need? When you stop to think, what is his need? What's really going on here? Sometimes you might actually get the answer and then you'll be like, oh, right, this is what we need to do. Because then it becomes obvious. If that husband, for example, is thinking, oh, you know, my wife does, he says to his wife he wants to go out with his friends, and then she has a fit about it, when he actually just understands, it just means it's because I'm not spending enough time with her. If he just gets that, there's no argument there. But the problem is when he doesn't get that, now both of them are fighting their sides for no reason, in one sense. Because they're fighting on the wrong, they're misunderstanding, they're fighting on the wrong level. So, to get to discussion part, both of them need to, and sometimes it's not easier, especially if the emotional aspect is sometimes related to trauma, then you're talking on a different level. Sometimes if there's a button that's pressed, which is not even related to the marriage, sometimes they're bringing things from before the marriage, then that's something else. That's not going to get resolved like this. It doesn't matter how much he understands, now you're going to go to the unhealthy. It's going to go down that route no matter what. But then it's for the wife to realize or come to that understanding that, you know what, I need to get help, I need to sort out this trauma. I'm the issue. Because at the moment, all she keeps saying, it's the husband's fault, it's the husband's fault, it's the husband's fault. And sometimes I have those cases where it's the wife keeps saying it's husband, then I take her out and say, have you realized this? Have you realized that? And they're like, oh, right, yeah. Sometimes you have to show the mirror. Otherwise, you're not going to sort the situation out. So, yeah, to go to the discussion route, there does need to be emotional intelligence there, which sometimes there isn't.
And can you help us understand, how does spirituality play a role in all of this?
Spirituality plays a role in the sense of we put Krishna in the center. So when we put Krishna in the center, it's not our ego. A lot of the unhealthy one, where's the unhealthy one? A lot of the unhealthy one is because, where's the unhealthy one? This is the healthy one. I don't have that. Anyway, I can't remember which slide it is now. Oh yeah, that's one. Yeah, a lot of this happens because it's like, no, I want to be right. And that does happen. And it especially happens when, for example, if the husband feels disrespected, if the wife feels, the core needs are not being met, then immediately that person is like, no, I'm sticking to my guns. But actually the real reason is that. So when we put Krishna in the center, there is more of a push, so we say, there's more of a reason to then at least try to sort it out. Like, even if it means, okay, go get external help, whatever it is. But the point is, just having arguments, and especially bringing kids up in a household where there is so much negativity, toxic relationship, that is not a good thing. So at least it will get them to the point that we need to sort this out. One couple actually told me just yesterday, from East London, they were saying every day they pay obeisances to the entire family, the daughter, the husband and wife, they pay obeisances to each other. Because all of them said, we are Vaishnavas, we are devotees of the Lord. I was like, that's brilliant. I said, it's not nice that they're arguing, because I was telling them I'm doing this talk, and they were saying how they don't generally argue, like at least raise their voices anymore, because of that reason, that we're all devotees, and it's not nice for Gauranitai in their house to have to hear arguments. So if that means then they, like I said, they go outside, not outside the house, as in they get help, or they sit down and they stop raising their voice. All right, we're going to make a conscious effort here to listen to each other. As hard as it is, I'm going to do this for Krishna. Okay. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, whatever. But the point is, you're going to look for a solution because you're devotees. Whereas, shall we say, somebody who doesn't have Krishna consciousness won't necessarily have that, be able to put their ego aside. They won't have that humility. Why? Why should I be the one who always has to say sorry? Why should it always be me that's the one compromising? And yeah, I get it. It's like, it's not nice. So when we put Krishna in the center, it's like, no, there's an actual reason for that. Yeah, I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing this for Krishna. I want to go back to God. I don't want to just be fighting all the time. So there's a much bigger impetus for that. And also, in Krishna consciousness, it's quite clear what the duties of a man and woman are. And one of the duties of a man, I say this because I see this a lot. So I sometimes have to apologize to women on my sessions, and I say, I apologize on behalf of my species. Because sometimes men, in that mood of, solution orientated, in that mood of gun-ho, let's make this, they miss the point that part of the responsibility of a man is to listen emotionally to their wife. Part of the responsibility of a man is not just to protect her physically, is to protect her emotionally. And part of that is actually listening to her. And sometimes they don't get that, or sometimes they don't want to. But as a devotee, that is part of what we do. If you look at Krishna and his pastimes, especially in Dwarika, and how amazing a husband he was. He had 16,108 wives. Every single wife was satisfied. He even went to heavenly planets and fought with Indra for Satyabhama. That's what a good husband he was. So if you want an example, God is the example. He's our inspiration. A really good question. Thank you. You have some more? Go on.
One more, so in Krishna book, Prabhupada talks about, in the introduction, he talks about one's ability to tolerate provoking situations is an estimation of that person's greatness.
Yes.
So in terms of couples, can you give some thoughts on good examples of couples from the scriptures that we can draw upon and
in relationship to?
No, just examples.
But you started with that sentence that to provoke. How are those two related?
No, as in because couples go through difficult situations.
Okay.
And so there's examples of couples that we can draw inspiration from from the scriptures that give us a sense of beacons of inspiration that we can draw from.
Yes. So when there's a marriage ceremony, generally there's a few couples that are mentioned as examples. Interestingly, Ravan and Mandodari are mentioned. Even a demon can be a good example. Well, flipping hell, if a demon can be a good example of a husband, then we've got some hope. Lord Shiva, Parvati. So one for me, especially that are the greatest example is actually Sita and Ram. For example, in a provoking situation, when Lord Ram comes after speaking to KK, and KK has banished him to the forest for 14 years, he comes and tells Sita that, okay, you stay here and look after your in-laws, outlaws. Look after your in-laws and do this nicely and listen to Bharat, he's going to be the person in charge. And she's like, what? Don't think you're going to the forest alone, I'm coming with you. And they have a whole discussion. And what happens in the end? Sita Devi comes. And you know how she convinces him? You know how she convinces him? So I'm saying this in front of both the males and the females, but this is one of the techniques that a female uses. It's called emotional blackmail. The ladies know this one all too well. And we men know it too, but we allow you to do it. Let's be honest. Sita Devi says, if you don't take me, I will drink poison and end my life here. Because to be in Ayodhya without you is hell. But to be in the forest with you is heaven. But just behind that, shall we say, emotional blackmail, I'm saying it jokingly, but behind that, there is the mood of love. Behind that, there is the mood of, I want to serve you. I don't want you to be alone in the forest. It would have been horrible for Lord Ram to be in the forest 14 years without Sita Devi. Just see her mood of wanting to serve. So not giving up. So whether her husband is the emperor of the unit of Ayodhya, the whole world, or whether he's a pauper and just like has nothing and is wandering in the forest alone, she's with him. Just see that. Such an amazing example. And then for Lord Ram, there's a story that's perhaps not so well known. And this shows the ego, how a husband doesn't have an ego. Is that at one point, Sita and Ram, in their forest play, they decided to have a race. So who was going to swim to the other side of the riverbank, touch the other side of the riverbank, and then come back? And Lakshmana was sat on the side and he's watching this fun. So they both jump in. Now, Ram is he's muscly built, he's made for, shall we say, sports. He's made for physical activity. Sita Devi is let's be honest, she's a dainty princess. She's not physically built for physical activity. She's got thousands of maidservants that do everything. So they're having a race, and Sita Devi's splashing away, doing her best to try and keep up. So Ram is well ahead, and he gets to the other side of the bank. And Sita Devi's there, and then she touches the bank, and then they're coming back. So at one point, Ram just goes underneath, just goes down. And Sita Devi she's completely oblivious to where Lord Ram is. And she's splashing away, splashing away, splashing away, splashing away. And then she's nearly to the end of the bank. Then at that point, Ram comes up and he's behind her. And Sita Devi gets to the bank first. And she turns around and sees Ram just behind her. And she gets out, she's like, yes, I won. And Ram's like, oh God, how did you beat me? He gets up, they embrace each other like that. And Lakshman's looking on the side thinking, wow. Nice, huh? Good question. There's no ego there. But what does a normal egocentric person do? He goes to the other side, comes back and said, I thrashed you. So that's the mood. Keeping love and keeping God in the center of our relationship is what helps us to have a wonderful, even if there's fights, we always bring it back to a harmonious relationship. Hare Krishna.